It is indeed an honor and a privilege to address such a gathering today. I have been involved in group activities such as netball, Girl Guides, football, athletics, and St. John's Ambulance. I started in sports and other activities from as early as the Anglican Infant School through to St. Joseph's Convent, Teachers College and University, and within my community. I became a member of the City Strikers Sports Club upon graduating from St. Joseph's Convent in 1980, and I played netball, and I was an athlete. As an athlete at St. Joseph's Convent, we participated for the joy of representing our house. We only received, well, I went to the convent in 1975, I graduated in 80, and all we received for participation, we didn't get a medal, we got certificates. I still have my certificates today. I was a Victrix Laudorum for 2 years, and all I got was a certificate. But I appreciated it and I still have it. I am here to share with you this morning my life journey as a young person growing up active in group activities, and to highlight some of the changes that I've seen over the years, which I want all of us to be mindful of these changes as we embark upon sign-up. Club life for me was fun. From convent days, we had 4 netball teams at the convent, and we participated in competitions at the local level, not school, but at the local level. I remember myself having to mark Paula Cauldron. She was Paula Gordon at the time. I'm short and she was tall. But the challenge never stopped us. We enjoyed what we did, and so we continued. As a member of a club life was fun in the 80s. We played our competitions, we traveled overseas on our own. We were led by men who were really interested in taking care of young people, who took sports seriously and saw after our growth and development under their charge, not only in sports but on the social realm. People like Matthew Roberts, Mr. George Eugene, Honorable Guy Mayers, to name a few, were presidents of City Strikers Sports Club in the 80s. We met regularly, and we had organized leadership seminars, workshops, and the like. Now, I was only about 16, 17, 18 at that time, and these days were good. However, as our leaders' careers began to bloom and their children grew older, the demands of a balance between work and family seemed to have taken precedence, and in addition, they needed to give others a chance to develop and grow. And so in the 1990s, as far as I can recall, more clubs began to spring up, and people like me began to take the initiative to follow in their footsteps, becoming a secretary, forming my own club with my husband and a few friends, and continuing the legacy of helping young people to grow. Now I'm going to highlight some of the other issues that I've seen over the years as to why there's that lack of interest in youth activities, in clubs, from my perspective. There are issues with leadership. As far as I can see, throughout all my years of involvement, there seems to be no structured succession planning. Not many institutions organize the leadership seminars, workshops, to train prospective leaders from the organization. And even when they did, those who were trained did not follow up. They did not share what they had learned with others, and therefore you find that you have a lot of associations that have long lists of certified persons who are inactive, and they've been inactive for years. When we look at some of our constitutions, some of the constitutions of clubs do not allow for growth either. A person can be a secretary for life, I can attest to that because in my club's constitution, it does not say that I can only serve for 2 years or 3 years. I've been the secretary of my club, Elite Sports Club, from the inception, 1990, yes, until 2 or 3 years ago. So where's the growth? Okay? Then, on the other hand, you have members who just want to play, or they just want to be a member of the group, but when it comes to taking up the mantle, they're not interested in taking up the mantle. So you find you remain because you love what you do and you want it to continue. The other side too is that your members, they blame. They blame everybody. The executive is never doing anything, never doing anything. But every time there's an election, I decline. I decline. Okay? And the criticisms continue. So we have to be mindful when we look at establishing sign-up, that we take into consideration these kinds of issues. In my convent days, as I said before, all I got was a certificate. I remember my first actual medal that I got was in 1980, and I gave that medal to my aunt. And despite now, there's an increase in incentives for young people participating in group activities. In spite of the increase in the incentives, they go to regional games, international, they get to represent the country at regional and international events. You still find that there are not so many young people who are interested in these activities. I look at the school system and I ask, could it also be that our school's curriculum does not really foster the kind of interest that existed before, like in my days at the convent, and even to go back to the Anglican Infant School. At the Anglican Infant School, we had a principal, Mrs. King. Fortunately, her husband stood by her side, and he would organize pantomime at our school. So I participated in pantomime at infant school. That's between 5 and 8 years old. So we were exposed. I took part in the choir at the Anglican Infant School. How many schools continue with these kinds of things on a regular basis and maintain it? Our teaching cohort, maybe a lot of them did not participate in activities, group activities within the school, when they went to school, or in their communities. And if they did, we have to ask the question, why is it that we cannot find the teachers who are willing to assist our children in youth activities? For example, a couple of years ago when we had Mrs. Francois as our Chief Education Officer Instruction, she introduced something called enrichment, in which every school was to get a slot from the timetable. The timetable slot, maybe an hour to 2 hours, and engage every student in some form of enrichment activity, not the maths and the English. So you would establish a club or some organization within your school. That has died down in many schools. It exists in very few today. I have a problem at my school with the enrichment program because teachers don't feel that they are so equipped to maintain and keep the children interested in a particular activity that they feel that they can handle at the time. I was pleasantly happy last evening when I heard the principal and the music teacher from the Granville Secondary School speak of the 11 a.m. to 12 noon enrichment program at their school, where their students are engaged in activities other than the English and the maths. How many of our secondary schools are doing that for our young people? Our curriculum no longer has home economics at the primary level because we don't have grade 8s anymore. And therefore, the home economic program provided a chance for the children to develop their skills, for example in sewing and knitting and cookery, etc. that no longer exists from that early age. Therefore, we are only creating children who are academically inclined, and that is not taking care of the holistic development of our children.